Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video. Today we have the purple starter deck for the One Piece card game. We did the first one, the red one, the Luffy one. Today we're going to do the fourth one, the Kaido, the purple one. I don't know why they decided to skip 2 and 3 and just go right to Kaido for it, but that's what they do, and then we'll probably get 2 and 3 pretty shortly. I do want to shout out the One Piece card game dev for this video. Last video we did the Nami Piece TCG Facebook page, which I so recommend looking for content, but this was super duper good and helpful. I didn't I did my own translations for all these, and then someone's like, hey, why don't you just use the One Piece card game dev one? I'm like, oh man, they're way better. Well, I'll do a quick comparison, but they did a really good job. They look really great, and so I'm probably just going to borrow those for future videos in there. But if you guys want to look at high quality cards and everything else, that is here on this page, and I'll have a link in the description for them as well. So shout outs for them, and then let's go into our so this is the deck list for the star deck, and a lot of 2-ofs for kind of the larger cards. We do have the Kaido here. I will say I don't have a lot of knowledge of this specific like character, and I guess not archetype but crew from One Piece, so I am a little lacking on that guy. But you do have King and Queen. You get 2 of there as well. We do have 2 of the Jack 2 and then a Who's Who. So it's interesting, the 2-ofs they chose here, and then a couple of their event cards. Is that how they're called in this game? I think that's right. We'll figure it out soon. But this is what we get for it. Obviously, I think the Kaido and honestly the King seems kind of good too. We'll go over the cards and stuff, but you do get the 4s of your vanillas, so that is expected, and everything else. Like the red one, I mostly play Dragon Ball Super and Digimon, which is a combination of essentially this game. They take rules from both. Bandai makes all 3 card games, and so a lot of my knowledge is going to be based off that. This is going to be a little bit of a review, but also just kind of just card knowledge of what these cards are and what they do. In general, I think I like purple a little bit more than I do red. There seems to be a lot more interaction and a lot of more decision points, which seem really fun and interesting. So immediately, it's just what I like this one a little bit more. And characters aside and everything. So let's go into our cards. So here's the one from the dev site. Here's mine. It's close to good. It's not great. I think I put Kaido wrong too. So and also they put Beast Pirates, or as the Animal Kingdom Pirates, as the trait. I think in English it's Beast Pirates. I could be wrong on this. Whatever it is, those are interchangeable between the two. I think they're standardized on Animal Kingdom Pirates, but I would not be surprised if that gets switched to Beast Pirates in the TCG or the English release. But we do have this leader. It is a 5K. It is 5 life. It is purple, which means you can only run purple cards, and also you start at 5 life. Most leaders so far are 5 life, but it looks like there's anything from, I guess, 1 to 8. And that's kind of balance, and 5K seems to be 5 life, and 5K seems standard. And I wonder if they'd probably do the thing where it's like a 4K leader with 6 life, or like a 6K leader with 4 life. They might do something silly like that. But activate main, Dawn -7, so that means essentially trash 7 of your Dawn to activate this effect. Once return, trash the top card of your opponent's life. So it's pretty good. It is burn damage, which is not super common in either Dragon Ball Super or Digimon. Exists a little bit in Dragon Ball, and the ways it does has to be really catered to, or just kind of wins the game for a lot of people. They're able to hit a lot of those. Digimon, it exists, and it's kind of fine, especially since there's more like recovery mechanics and ways to add more cards to your life or security. So far, I haven't seen any of those resources for the One Piece card game, so that might mean that burn is a little bit more like the Dragon Ball, where if you're able to burn your opponent for 2, you're doing a lot of damage. So, but going on to the cards there, we do have Ulti. It is a counter +2, which is kind of nice. Again, counter +2, and how the battle step works for this game is that you declare an attack, and then your opponent has counters, and that is it. And mostly the counters kind of act like the combo step, like it does in Dragon Ball Super. So not all battle cards or character cards have this counter, are like combo power, but 2K is pretty substantial, especially since, as far as I know, the counter on the side of the card is free. There are some other ways to do counters, but they do cost your Dawn for it. So, but on play, Dawn -1, where you unramp yourself 1, play up to 1 page 1 character with a cost 4 or less from your hand. So being able to storm the board with this is good. This is a 5k. We'll look at the page as well, but it seems like 5k is kind of like standard for starting to do damage to your opponent from what I've seen. So it's kind of like the immediately kind of good way to start doing damage to your opponent. Otherwise, yeah, it's just, this is something you get 2 of, so I'm gonna guess this is kind of a good card. Then we also have another Kaido. This is a big old 9-drop, and then on play Dawn -5, return them to your Dawn deck. Additionally, as far as I know, you can return cards, return Dawn that has already been suspended for playing. So, and I think you maxed out at 10 Dawn. I don't think you can get more than 10 Dawn. So by paying 9, you'll have 9 rested, and you can put 5 of those rested ones to your Dawn deck to KO one of your opponent's 7 cost or lower. Then this gains rush for the turn. So this being able to essentially pop a blocker most of the time and then swing in for rush with also 10k, which means your opponent has to really stack a bunch of counters to get rid of this. Obviously you do have to get rid of half of your Dawn, but if this is winning you the game, it could get rid of all your Dawn and it doesn't matter. So seems interesting. And also something to remember too is that you get 2 Dawn or 2 energy every turn. So if you start turn 1, you get 1, and you go 3, 5, 7. So this actually isn't, this is like a big turn 5 play, and it's not as like a 9 cost in Dragon Ball Super almost never gets played because it's too much to, like, that's 9 turns of living, and normally the game is over like by turn 4. So this can still be played on turn 4 if you do like the regular, I guess turn 5. But I think it's something to look out for. And yeah, I think this is interesting, being able to pop something so big and then swing with it too, because everything has summoning sickness, can't attack the turn it's played unless it does have rush. Next up, we do have King. On play Dawn -1, choose one of your opponent's character cards 4 or lower and KO. So this is just kind of a smaller version of Kaido. And I think it's fine. Like for 6, being able to pop something of your opponent's that's 4 or less is good. And then you have a big 7k boy. This seems like a really good, honestly, I think, unless like you'd probably run like a playset of King and then like 1 or 2 Kaidos to like as a game ender kind of big boss, but I think King is really good for what I've seen for the cost and the removal and everything. And it seems like I like this card a lot. I think this is a standard 6-drop, and we're gonna see if that is wrong in a couple of months and stuff. But here we go. We also do have Queen is a counter +1 blocker, and also on play Dawn -1, return. And you get to draw 1, 2, and then discard 1 from your hand. So kind of being able to cycle with this, something that I've seen a lot of purple. It kind of reminds me of blue in Digimon, where you have a lot of effects that let you, like, it's a lot of energy manipulation, but it ramps you your Dawn, so you get rid of your Dawn. And that's kind of the thing. And then it looks like there's also some card draw mechanics as well, but also like it balances out by a lot of your effects need you to discard cards. So I think that's interesting. Unlike Digimon, you don't get to kind of draw a card every time you play something, but it looks like cards are more like flexible, like they are in Dragon Ball Super. And then also when you take damage, the cards go into your hand as well. So a lot of points of counter there, and of like to consider these cards. So this seems fine for what it is. It's going to be, I don't know how important blocker is going to be right now. It's also the blocker is based on the Dragon Ball Super, where you can block, but even if you are, you're swinging with something that's a 5k and you block with a 6k, the attacker can't die by battle. Only the defender or what you're swinging into. So that's something that's to consider too. Meanwhile, in Digimon, if you block with something larger, it just dies if you're the attacker. So things to think about. I feel like I'm just rambling on both of these card games. But we do also have the Sasaki. Unplayed Dawn -1, draw 1 card. Pretty simple. It's a 4k for 3. A vanilla is 5k for 3. It also has a counter +1. This seems like a pretty good cycle card, especially if you go first. You can play this on turn 2 and then go down to 2 Dawning, draw 1. And just help you get your cycle and stuff too. So I think that's fine. It looks like it's okay for its turn, and I don't have much else to say. We also have Sheephead, so it's a 2 cost counter +1 for 4. We saw the same kind of what's it called of stat lines for the red one, so I would assume that these exist there. We also have Jack on play. Discard 1 card from your hand, reveal 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck in active, which just means you get to ramp 1. So this is kind of the back and forth with it, where you spend your Dawn, you get rid of them to draw cards, and then you can use something like Jack to discard the extra card advantage to get your Dawn back. It seems pretty balanced in between both of those, but the fact that also the Dawn comes out in active means that you get like one more. I think that's kind of important too, in being able to reuse the Dawn you just used to attach to something. This kind of ramp is interesting, and ramp is something that like in Dragon Ball Super we've had to cater to and balance around for a long time. So I'm going to be interested to see how Dawn ramping makes a difference, especially since Dawn seems a lot more flexible in a lot of ways, where you can always represent a plus 1k on any of your cards by putting them underneath them. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all works out. But yeah, there is some ramp, and it's in purple, which is interesting. Jin Rummy, 1 cost, 3k, counter +1. This is the same as the duck in the red one. I don't watch enough One Piece yet, so I don't even know who the duck is, so I'm sorry, I do not know his name off. But Jin Rummy is I can remember that one. That's pretty easy. And then we have Who's Who. So activate Dawn -1, KO up to one of your opponent's 3 cost or lower characters. And then trigger, you can play this card. I think this seems kind of good. Being able to play it for free off of the trigger seems nice, and then just being able to pop something 3 or less. This could be something where if your opponent's trying to swing for game and they have a bunch of smaller swings, you can just play this off one of your triggers, and then you pop something, and then they can't go for game anymore. So in Digimon, there's a lot of that where you can kind of count how many swings you have, and especially since Digimon, anything like a 1k can always do damage to you, and it's kind of balanced around that. You just have to kind of count the bodies, and you can kind of have game on board. So kind of having this interaction that can prevent your opponent from winning when they think they would, I think is interesting. So I think this is a solid card as well. I do have Black Maria, just a 2-drop blocker, counter +1, pretty standard. And like, for example, too, like you can just play this. Oh, sorry, this is an active main. My apologies. This is an active main. So you can't just trigger, play it, and then pop something on the swing. My apologies. This is not an on-play Dawn -1. A lot of these are on-play Dawn -1s, but this is an active main Dawn -1. It's still fine, but you have to wait till the next turn to KO something. So that's something to consider. But yeah, blockers are normally smaller. We do have like the big queen that is blocker, so this is harder to pop, but I think in Digimon, especially, like every color had exactly 4 blockers when the set 1 came out, and so everyone was just like, well, I've already killed 2 of their blockers earlier in the game, so we'll see if they have 2 more, and they can kind of represent like not dying and like preventive stuff. So we'll see if the blockers in this game are the same. And then we do have the page 1. So this is something you can play for free off the ulti. It's a 4-cost vanilla for 6k counter +1. Just a good vanilla. But the fact that you're able to play something like this for free, it kind of ramp into this for free, I think is good. It's a 6k, which means it can hit over a lot of things. And your opponent's going to have to get rid of, or at least use 2 cards, unless they use a counter +2 to get rid of, like to not get damage from this guy. So I think it's good. I think it's a good low combo there. Going next, we do have our Drake, 3 cost, 5k. It's just another vanilla. So there we go. And then we do have our event cards. So we do have All-Star Disaster, active main. Draw 1 card, then reveal 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck in active. So you get to draw a card and ramp 1 back, which is kind of nice. And it is an active, so you pay 4 and then you go up 1. So technically you only pay 3 for this, as long as you have the 4 to use it, which is kind of nice. And then also activate this card's main effect, which means you get to ramp on your opponent's turn and draw. This seems like a solid card. It might be expensive at 4, but I mean, the amount of like just being able to potentially ramp and use as an energy sink and draw and everything, I think this looks pretty good. We do also have the Braccio Bomber, so KO up to one of your opponent's 6 cost or lower characters, then reveal 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck in active mode. So I mean, for 6 you get a trade like a 6 cost, and since this game your opponent can't swing with the card as soon as it's played unless it has rush, they can play this big 6-drop and be like, all right, answer this. So this would be a good way to answer that. And then also you essentially, if you have 6 to play this, it actually counts as 5 as long as you don't have all your Dawn out. So I think it's a good card, and also you just ramps 1 in active mode on trigger as well. So both these cards kind of do the same thing, and it's good to have this additional ramp that can also activate if they kind of go into their stuff. So all right, we also have Blast Breath, so counter Dawn -1. So as far as I know, this does cost the 1 Dawn to activate on the counter, but and then you just have to return 1. For battle, your leader or one of your characters gets plus 4k power. So if they got like this big swing that they're going into, and that's something that's really interesting too, where your opponent's going to know exactly how big at least when your opponent swings in, they do all of their pluses when they're getting ready to swing and not on the swing kind of thing. In Dragon Ball Super, we do have these cards that negate attacks, and then if the attack is not negated, then you do your boost. But it doesn't look like there's any negates, there's only blockers, which means that if your opponent tries to put all their Dawn underneath their leader to try to swing in for 1 more damage, this would be a fantastic card to give your leader plus 4 for the thing, and then just kind of go from there. So it looks interesting. We're gonna see. I think like this would be like a 1 or 2 if not like a play set, but I see what it's doing and I think it's kind of good. And then lastly, we do have the Onigashima stage. So this is the a layer. I don't know what this is. I'm not this far in One Piece. I promise I'm trying. It is a chunk of my life to get through that. But anyways, activate main, you can rest this card, and if your leader has the Animal Kingdoms Pirates, which also might be Beast Pirates, trait, add 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck into your area and rest. So this just lets you ramp once per turn starting on turn 3, 3 Dawn, which means on your second turn, if you're going first or second, you can start doing this and then just get additional ramp every turn. Obviously it comes in rest, so that is not as good, but if you need to have an effect that uses like a Dawn -1 anyways, you can activate this card, rest it, put a Dawn into your cost area and rest it, and then you can use the Dawn -1 and the card you just put in rest. So I think that's kind of good. This in like Dragon Ball Super, something like this would be busted. So it's going to be interesting to see what it's like in this game and how kind of energy ramping and everything else does, or Dawn ramping works in it. Especially since Dawn is like a more flexible resource in this game than in Dragon Ball Super. But that is going to be it for me. Again, thank you so much to OnePieceCardGame.dev for these higher quality ones. I don't know. I think I did an okay job with my impractical. That looks fine. I'd play this card. But obviously theirs look way better, so I do not use mine. However, that's going to be it for me. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll probably play a demo game of the purple and the red star deck soon and have them on the channel for you guys to check out and see how the game is actually played. And that's going to be it for me. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you all next time.
Damn it. Damn it.